Daily Detroit is brought to you by the community. Support our work at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It is Friday, August 26th, 2022. We are here sharing what to know and a lot of where to go in Metro Detroit. I'm Jer Stays, coming to you from east of Woodward and from west of Woodward.
I'm Devon O'Reilly. Good to be here again, Jer.
It is always great to talk to you. Man, we've got kind of a full, mostly fun plate of things to talk about. Let's start with where you've been.
You know, I was thinking about where I've been, and, I haven't been to as many places. People might think, oh, well, maybe not as many places are opening up in Detroit. I actually had the chance to do something interesting. I think that a lot of people nowadays who go downtown often don't venture into Greektown during the day because they might think there's not a lot to do there. But I had a business meeting in Greektown with the one and only Jeanette Pierce, who we all know and love from the City Institute. I know you've had her on recently. And she introduced me to this new Greek market and bar called Bakalikan in Greektown. It's right next to the Golden Fleece below Exodus, and it's by the same owners. You know them from Golden Fleece, you know them from Exodus. Yanni Dionyasopoulos, I believe. Hopefully I didn't butcher that, but it is super authentic. His family's from Mykonos, so they've got Greek imports on dry goods, on fresh pastries. They have Greek coffee, which is super strong. They've got all the Greek drinks and alcohols. It was delightful. I think a lot of people don't know about it, and I really want to take the time to encourage people to check out Greektown. I know it's been getting a bad rap for kind of the late night crowd, but there's a lot going on in Greektown during the day, and it is still very culturally significant.
100%. And I love to hear that a place like this that kind of gets to the roots is open. You know, it's one thing to run a club or whatever with a Greek flag on it. It's another thing where you can actually kind of share and be an ambassador of the culture. And that's kind of the magic, and I've shared this on the podcast before. I've been going to Greektown since I was a kid. My dad used to drop me off at the arcade with a bag of change to a guy, and I would just play the arcade while my dad painted offices because we were too poor for babysitters. That's just what you did, right? And in the 80s, it was a different place, and it had a lot of that Greek flair, and I'm so glad to hear some more of it back.
Yeah, it really is. And the thing is, yes, people have probably seen maybe some of the Greek restaurants disappearing, being replaced with new businesses, but the Greek families, the Papases, the Dionysopouloses, they still own the buildings, and so it is still very much a Greek flavor. The families that own it, we always talk about how important it is, right, to own your own building as a business and have equity. And so these traditional Greek families who have been there for decades now, they still own the buildings in Greek towns. You feel that. It was a very family type of atmosphere. I got this delicious spread of spicy feta, tzatziki sauce, and Greek caviar, which is a kind of a little bit of a mystery spread that was really nice and light. I got a sweet olive spread. So stuff that you don't normally get in just a chain Greek restaurant, as it were. It's really cool.
I would encourage more of that, right? And I need to go check this place out for myself, but it's so hot right now. And I hate to say it's trendy because it shouldn't be trendy. It should always be wonderful to be able to share the flavors of your culture. And I think that's really the thing to lean into, because it is a Greek section of town. It is on the label. And the more that can be leaned into, the more excellent dining experiences and all those things, not just on that block, but even as the neighborhood kind of regrows back into its old kind of size. You think about the exchange that's going up, or I guess going down in reverse.
Yeah, exactly, Derek.
The apartment building that's coming together there. I remember when it wasn't all parking lots. Greektown has the ability, especially if they can build on some parking lots or do some different things, just to really restore some of that urban fabric in the heart of downtown, and in a way that I think will really attract people, right? That is not just a shtick, but a real vibe.
Yeah, and I think so. You and I are bullish on Greektown. I believe in the future of Greektown. I believe in the ownership groups, the families that are still a part of that fabric. It is still a cultural neighborhood. Despite the casinos, despite the clubs that sometimes get a bad rap, it's still a cultural neighborhood and has gems like Bakalikan and other places there that are really worth checking out. And you don't have to go there at 2 a.m. Maybe check it out in the late afternoon or in the evening. It's an awesome place to hang out.
Honestly, Devin, unless I'm with engineer Randy, I am nowhere at 2 a.m.
Well, same. I'm
Not
trying
anymore.
I'm sleeping or I'm prepping a bottle. That's what I'm doing. All right, Jer, your turn. Where have you been?
So this has been on my list for a while, and I regret that I haven't been there earlier, but I got a chance to go to the Roost, Detroit. That is over on West Canfield in the Woodbridge neighborhood. It is among the cutest little storefronts I have seen in the city. I have no idea how this little storefront made it through on Canfield, kind of at the side of the houses. First off, I'm extremely jealous because it's exactly the kind of storefront that I would love for a daily Detroit studio.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, it's great. It's this great little storefront, beautiful, clean. The owner has been in the neighborhood for like a half a century, according to him. Of course, you know me, I get chatty and whatever. I went there, got breakfast sandwich, cookies, iced coffee. I came a little later in the morning rush. And so the first pro tip I would say, get there early, especially on the weekends. This place is already kicked off to be a huge neighborhood spot. So if you're coming in, go in early so that you've got the best selection of like fresh stuff and sandwiches and bagels and all that kind of thing. So I had a really solid breakfast croissant made there. Like it's not like the Starbucks reheated thing. Like it's really a thing. Really well done. There's also like a mini market in there for like pastas, beers, stuff like that. Bakery items for sale. It is also, I believe, African-American owned, which is also important in the city of Detroit, at least in my opinion. I know some people will disagree with me, but I think it's important. And you know what? I cannot wait to be back. Just the cutest little vibe in there. There's only about like 8, maybe 10 seats at 2 tables. So it's small, but it's a grab and go or go walk the neighborhood. Or if you got some space by yourself, you know, just to enjoy some coffee or whatever. I mean, I couldn't recommend it more. I really, really did enjoy it. And these are the kind of things everyone says to me, let's have neighborhood businesses. Let's do these things. You know what? Here you go. So it's on you to support it, Detroit. It's on you, right? Because the owner has stepped up and delivered. So, you know, he tells me business is good, but I think it's important that the community, all right, it's time for us to step up for them. Because if you say you want this in the community, say you want this in different neighborhoods, there you go.
It's important that you mention it, Jerry, because it does seem to be really a neighborhood place, especially given the location. I mean, when I think of kind of the Woodbridge commercial corridor there's that cluster of businesses with like Woodbridge Pub and Pie Sci and all that in Lexington. But this is off the beaten path a little bit, right? Like this isn't near there. This is a little bit farther away, kind of tucked away.
Yeah, Devon. Like, so this is just west of Trumbull on West Canfield, you know, right near Commonwealth Street. There are houses everywhere. There's an apartment building like across the street from it. Yeah, there's some retail nearby, like around the corner and things, but this is like a really unique storefront. If you go look on Google Maps, I mean, it's, as I said, it's the greatest little thing. It just tucked right back in there. Like it's from the day of Detroit when you had those kind of little businesses because it was so dense and so busy and you needed to have that kind of stuff served. They found a magical little space. They provide a magical little bit of food and drink and all kinds of things. And I truly say it is worth the trip.
Well, Jerry, if you say so, I believe it. I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Now, by listener request, I don't know how you feel about this one, Devon. I don't know if I've made you, if you tolerate, if you like, if you embrace the challenge that our listeners give us. But by listener request, I am looking at a 24-ounce bottle of cold Faygo Jazzin Bluesberry.
Oh, boy.
Detroit loves its Faygo. We all know this. And there are so many flavors. And this flavor has been absent from this market for a decade. It's been a big thing down south. I went ahead and looked online. There's a lot of people with positive reviews about it down south. They've reintroduced it here for a while in just the 24-ounce bottles. I got a hold of some from our fun friends at Basil's Liquor Shop, also in Woodbridge, but over on Grand River. And I slipped some to you on your porch for your thoughts. So
you did.
Let's kind of dive into it. Let's set the table first. When it comes to Faygo flavors, let's talk about what we like so that people know as we're rating this where our vibes are.
Well, Jer, we have to start here. I am not a pop drinker in the last 10 years of my life.
So not just not Faygo, no, like Little Pop in general.
No, I just don't drink pop. The sugar, the calories, make fun of me what you want, but like I can't do it anymore. So do not drink pop, only sparingly. So I had to go back into my kind of memory bank to see what were my favorite Faygo flavors when I was reaching into that cooler and trying to find something. And I remember the 60/40 was my favorite. It's kind of random. It's like a grapefruit and lime combination. Really good though. Very refreshing. And it's pretty widely available, I think. I used to be able to find it pretty easily in Detroit in my area. So Faygo 60/40 was my favorite. Nowadays, man, I don't know if I would just grab a pop and just drink it normally. It's got to be a mixer at this point for me.
All right. So for me, it's a wide variety. Definitely a fan of the Arctic Sun. When they brought that out, I was really into it. So I'm also kind of into the citrus vibe. I also, of course, like your red pops and your rock and ryes, your kind of classic things. Like everybody loves the red pop and the rock and rye pretty much, right? Those are the kind of the iconic flavors. So I wanted to set the table with that and then dive into kind of our thoughts. Now, Jazzin Bluesberry, when I see a blue drink, what's funny is when I see blue, I usually think things are going to taste like raspberry. Mm-hmm. So like if I go to the ice cream parlor and I get like a slushie or something like that, and I see blue, I think it's going to be raspberry as opposed to blueberry.
Yeah, blue raspberry is popular.
Yeah, it's my first thought. They tell me that these blueberries spent 8 hours listening to a saxophone before they were put into this.
Okay.
Apparently.
I believe it.
Engineer Randy, I was not going to have him try this because he is biased out the bat because he does not like blueberries. And he, in fact, even tanked a flavor of Hudsonville ice cream just because of his hate of blueberries. So after that incident and all the fan mail that we got, an angry fan mail about it, I made the decision to pull him off the official blueberry beat because he's just going to trash it, right?
He is a biased actor in this scenario. He has to recuse himself from the blueberry judging.
But before the last DCFC game, you know what I slipped him? I slipped him a bottle of this stuff, and I said, hey,
no.
Will you take one for the team? Off the record, unofficial. I wanted to see him suffer, frankly, as his friend.
Well, Randy's a trooper. He can handle his drinks, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. So I hope that he gave this a try.
He liked it.
Interesting.
He liked it. Randy liked it. So that really made me think about what the flavors of this are. And so here I am giving it a spin. And I got to tell you, for me, it's kind of missing the blueberry base tartness. I mean, some of it's still there, but for the amount of sugar that's in this full pop, because it's the full Monty, right? This is not a diet.
No.
I am surprised at how, it's good, but I'm surprised at how more balanced it is than I expected. Although it's almost feeling like I'm not sure if it's a raspberry or a blueberry. It's like in an interesting world, like the saxophones did something to it.
Yeah, you don't immediately get blueberry. I'm sure berry is in there somewhere, and the color is clearly very royal blue, but I'm not getting blueberry, not getting as sweet, although the sugar content would tell you otherwise, right, Jared? It's like 73, 78, something insane of your sugar content. But hey, look, if you're drinking Faygo pop, or drinking any pop for that matter, sugar content is not a concern of yours.
Well, and to be clear, Faygo does have some diet options, and I didn't know this, and I want to get my hands on it. They have more than just pop? You were perusing the site.
Yes. I came across some of their sparkling line, their sparkling lemon lime, sparkling grapefruit, sparkling cherry that seem to be a much more light and refreshing option. I would love to try and find some Faygo sparkling cherry water or sparkling grapefruit water if anyone knows where I can get some.
Yeah, because I feel like that would be something to open some doors. So you played with cocktails. Me, I'm just going to tell you right now what I would do with this bottle, sir.
Okay. What would you do with it? And then I'll give you what I had to do with it.
You drink 10%, 15% of it. You grab a bottle of vodka, and then you fill it back up with vodka, and you give it a swirl. You stick it in your bike cup, like at the front of your bike, and then you're good for the afternoon. That's exactly what you do with this, right? Because the vodka isn't going to change the color at all. You're just going to have your to-go drink for the day. Like you just sip on this. Maybe one of those insulated cups to keep it cold. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of have a nice thing. Because, a lot of blueberry cocktails are based with vodka. I thought about gin. I don't think the extra flavors would play well there. You just need a solid, clean vodka with this one.
No, yeah. Vodka is the only acceptable mixer. And I felt like Chopped, the show doing this on the Food Network, where they just give you a basket of stuff. So I tried to make some kind of concoction out of this, Jer. I'm not saying this as like, hey, you should do this, because I have a lot of random crap at my house. So I tried to pull that together. I used the Bluesberry, of course. I thought a good base would not only be vodka, but I still have some of the punchki vodka that we talked about. So the punchki vodka, what that does though, is it adds a little bit of raspberry flavor and adds a little bit of kind of the breadiness. So I did the punchki vodka as my base liquor. I did the Bluesberry, and I did a Perrier peach cherry. Credit to my wife who found this random assortment box of Perriers. I didn't even know they made peach cherry. So I pulled that all together into what I'm calling the Bluesberry Cobbler.
Wow.
Because it's a bunch of berries. You got your bread taste with the punchki vodka. It is a cobbler in a glass.
I think we need to go ahead, like figure out your approximate ounces to this. We need to print that up on dailydetroit.com or post it, not print. We're not in 1912.
Print it out.
Print that out and read it to me. No, we need to post that up on dailydetroit.com because I just love the name of it. Oh my gosh.
Bluesberry Cobbler might be good. Might be a good holiday recipe.
See, we're just doing Faygo's marketing department's work for them. We're not even getting a dime.
No, that's okay.
So I understand you have some restaurant scuttlebutt, something you noticed while you were spying around downtown Detroit.
Well, yeah, Jared, it's nice always being back to the Man About Town, which I believe that I've claimed my title back as I wander the streets of Detroit on pretty much a daily basis now through work and pleasure. I was passing by the Westin Book Cadillac, and across the street, as you've mentioned and we mentioned on the show, the Indigo Hotel, which is the old Holiday Inn, the Indigo Hotel opened, and they had a place called Trolley Room on the first floor. That was like a bar and restaurant. It was kind of their concept, their hotel, and looked intriguing. I had been meaning to stop by, but what I noticed today was there's a big sign over the Trolley Room, what was the Trolley Room sign, for the 24Grille, which people will remember used to be right across the street in the Westin Book Cadillac. That closed. Roost is closed in the Westin, obviously, but it looks like there may be a resurrection in store for 24Grille, but this time in the Indigo.
I want to put a pin in that Book Cadillac discussion for a second because I want to circle back to it. But I hope that 24Grille, if they're going to do a reincarnation, I want to see them step it up in a few different ways. Like when I searched them out on social media and such, I did not find much.
They were mediocre at best.
Okay.
Their happy hour was mediocre.
Yelp's got them at 3 stars, which I don't always buy Yelp at full stock, but
no, that sounds right.
Okay.
That sounds right.
There needs to be a step up because the Detroit restaurant scene is very competitive.
Yeah, and I always felt they were kind of the stepchild, as it were, of Roost because Roost had such a fantastic happy hour. Roost had such good fine dining, steaks and chops and such. 24Grille was kind of like, what do you do? Why am I going to 24Grille and not Roost? Probably only because I can't get into Roost. I'm going to 24Grille.
I did like the patio they had.
Mm-hmm.
That was a major advantage. I had drinks on their patio with friends a few times. That was actually an advantage over Roost because I think Roost didn't really use that patio space much, probably in part because it's west facing. You had more sun. But the patio there, right there on Michigan Avenue, I've had some good times and memories on there. But that was drinks, not food.
Right. The space is really cool. And I think the Trolley Room had a really cool setup. So maybe this is kind of a win-win where 24Grille can kind of have a successful reincarnation in the old Trolley Room space that's already built out. You know, the bar looks cool already. So maybe they can kind of reinvigorate themselves there. And then across the street, like you said, putting a pin in it, you've got 2 huge food and beverage concepts in the Westin Book Cadillac building, which now, we're talking post-pandemic for the most part, people are downtown. Hotels are at 90+% capacity. So, there are people downtown. There are people in these hotels. There's no reason why both of these spaces can't open back up as restaurants, whatever concept they choose to be.
Here's the thing. For me, would I love to see something like local and special? Absolutely. But my gut tells me that with the opening of things like the Sugar Factory on the 29th, it's so funny. There's a running joke of like Cheesecake Factory or all these other different like chain restaurants.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're going to see. Like I feel like in one of those two, it's going to be too tempting to not go into open spaces like that, especially the Roost space.
Right. It would be too easy for Roost just to become Ruth Chris or something,
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't happen. I wouldn't hate. I mean, at this point, hey, look, there's room for everybody. Everybody can get in the pool here now in this Detroit, but I'd like to see something more local, more independently owned, but it will be great to see really anything going to that space. And I think it will be successful now.
All right, before I let you go, friends of the show wanted me to make sure to mention, I mentioned a couple other things to do over the weekend on the Wednesday show, but I did not mention the Clausen Fest this Saturday from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. So you could actually start at the Clausen Fest and then work your way downtown or east with some of the other things that I talked about. This event is part of their whole new thing because they've actually got a social drinking district now. There's a bunch of food trucks. There's artisans. There's all kinds of things. And since some friends of the show wanted to make sure for me to mention it, I figure that I would say so. It's right there on Main and Gardner.
That sounds awesome, Jared. I'm a fan of downtown Clausen. They've got a lot of cool stuff going on. They really lean into a lot of small business support, artisans markets, things like that. So this will be a really cool event. I think the weather will cooperate. So it'd be great to check it out if you're in the area, or even if you're not, make it a trip. Go to Clausen. The Clausen Steakhouse is a favorite of mine, so check that out if you go. And Renshaw Lounge, just a couple of Devon's Clausen picks. So check it out. Jerry, I got picks everywhere. I know people think maybe it's just Detroit and a little bit of Wayne County, but I get around. So I've got picks just about anywhere. A
couple of listener favorites. They slipped me Lucky Duck, which is newish up there in Clausen. It's gotten a lot of early plaudits. And then Nuri Chicken, if you want that kind of vibe. And then Zioli's, the logo looks like it was something out of like the Chelsea Football Club. Before we completely wrap up, though, Devon, earlier this week, we talked about the fact that Moro's in Allen Park is for sale. And I wanted to bring that up because I know that you specifically have memories about that place.
Yes, Moro's. I mean, it's such a classic Italian restaurant in downtown Allen Park, as it were. Smaller place for people who I guess haven't been there. Think of like Mario's in Detroit, but I even think more authentic in a way than Mario's in Detroit.
Big words.
Yeah, no, but really they do like the tableside service for some of the apps. If you get salads there, you get desserts. They do the flambe at the table. It's really, really old school Italian. It's really, really good food. Pasta. The veal dishes are just amazing. A gem. Now the price is a little high, so you're getting a successful Italian restaurant. You're gonna have to pay a little bit. I think it's over $1 million, but
1.6, sir.
Okay, well,
I mean, if you don't ask it, you don't get it.
No, I get it. But this might be tough to get 1.6 million, but it's certainly worth money to at least poke around and see if you're an entrepreneur and think that you can kind of take over what is a venerable restaurant in Allen Park and really all of downriver. It's widely known.
Always with something that's been around for that long, some updates might be in the cards. But, liquor licenses are valuable right now.
They are. That's true, too. You're basically paying for partially the liquor license because those are valuable. And they had one. So I hope that there are good things in store for Moro's. And I hope that whoever buys it doesn't change it too much because it is really quite an old school and a little hidden gem in Allen Park.
And with that, we are done for today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to our patrons at patreon.com/dailydetroit, as well as our one-time contributors at buymeacoffee.com/dailydetroit. Since it's the end of the week, I will mention thank you behind the scenes to everyone on the team. Thank you for getting newsletters out, all the different things that happen. And of course, Devon O'Reilly, thank you to you.
I mean, Jared, you don't have to thank me. Love to do it. Love to taste all your crazy Faygo flavors and see what kind of booze I can throw in them.
All right. With that, I'm Jared Stays.
I'm Devon O'Reilly.
Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.